Hi there, family and friends. I've got to bring something up today. It's sort of bothering me because last night we were going through a lot of issues, and Satan has a way of distracting you when you become successful in spreading the word, spreading the Lord's word. I know that many of my co-watchmen can attest to this, but yes, you'll be mocked, and you'll lose a lot of friends. Family will distance themselves, primarily because they're not educated on the things that are being revealed to us. So I try to keep that in mind and not take stuff personal. Nevertheless, yesterday had a really hard day. And I prayed for the Lord to stay close to me. I always worry that because when things like that happen, I fear the worst. I don't want to lose the gift that He has bestowed upon me because of outside influences, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whatever the case may be. Okay, I'm going to try to make this as fast as I can. Because I know that many watchmen may have some insight on what I'm going to disclose, what came to me last night. As disturbing as it was yesterday to have to deal with some things here in our home, I found a moment of tranquility past bedtime, and found myself at 1:30 in the morning still not being able to sleep. So I thought, well, I'll have a quiet time with the Lord, and I'll wake up and I'll study. So I did, and pretty quickly He revealed to me some things. Obviously, He calmed my fears. He's definitely still with me. But I want your input. I would really love your input on any of the videos that I have shared. This is my third one, and I wasn't planning on doing another one, but let me get down to it. I'm going to look at my notes. Because this was very foreign to me. I'm not one to even ponder Nostradamus, and because of the lack of education that I had at the time, I didn't want it to be something that I was entertaining that could be deemed as diabolic. But my understanding is that he was gifted in prophetic word. So in looking at that and exploring that last night, something was revealed to me almost immediately after praying and asking the Lord to stay with me. What had transpired last night was I was looking at a video that literally fell on my lap, and I know that my co-watchmen will know that that's usually sometimes how we'll get our information. Literally, the Lord will grace us and show us things that He wants to show us. Well, last night, when I was in prayer, it was like I had an open vision, okay? What I mean by that was in prayer, I was looking up at a video, and it was entitled The Prophecy of Nostradamus, the Third Antichrist, that was listed in his, let me get the right word for it, quatrain is what it's called. And basically, to sum it up, was according to the study that I had on Nostradamus, my understanding is that he had three antichrists that would come during our lifetimes. And to skip over the first two, those already happened. The first one was Napoleon, and then the second one was Hitler. And if you study that, you'll understand that he was spot on his prophecy. So when I was looking at the third one, I was getting confirmation about the Pope and the visions that the Lord has sent me on the Pope. The Lord has sent me several on the Pope and several on Obama, but they've been very, how can I say, very clear. Didn't take too much studying to realize what he was showing me. However, on this Nostradamus and the third Antichrist that he reveals to us, which I found out later, he aligned it with the prophecy, with the Bible. And what he prophesied was that this third Antichrist would usher in the end of times. And the way he described it exactly was, he says, and I quote, in Century 2, Quatrain 62, he calls the third Antichrist by the name of Mabus. M as in Mary, A-B-U-S. So that's what had fallen on my lap, and I thought the Lord was telling me at that point in time to look up Mabus and how it affiliated with the Pope and how he will sit at end times. Going back to the quote, the quote says, Mabus will soon die. Then will come a horrible undoing of people and animals. At once, one will seek vengeance. Now, the Lord has showed me through the angel that we would have some type of revolution, a civil war that would break out. That's clear with all the Walmart activity, Jade Helm, martial law. You can see all of the Obama executive orders that he has signed. You can go directly to the White House and find this information. It is on the whitehouse.gov address, that website. Going back to the quote, one will seek vengeance, 100 powers, thirst, famine, when the comet will pass. Now, this comet I've spoken about before. Some people call it a meteor, some people call it an asteroid. The Bible calls it wormwood. Okay, the waters become bitter, things of that nature. That would be explaining the thirst part. It also says here in my studies from last night, I looked up what Mabus, what the origin of Mabus is, because Nostradamus deliberately encoded it so that, we couldn't make it happen and attach it to one person. It would play out, and the person who fulfills it. And I know he worded it better, but that's my understanding of it. But when I looked up Mabus and aligned it with Pope Francis, I was really surprised on what I found, and this is the part that I need help on, because I've been racking my brain. Like I said, I wasn't planning on doing another video. I wasn't planning on doing the first one, much less the second one, and now the third one. But I believe that the Lord is revealing something very great here. And it's entitled in the title that I'm going to name this video. Okay, so catch on to what I title it, because actually the way I entitled this video is how the open vision came to me when I was sitting at my table studying last night, and I'd asked the Lord to stay with me. And he showed me in prayer, awake, he showed me what Mabus possibly stood for, and it came highlighted as my other visions have. Okay, so here's the part that's really blew me away. Well, you figure you want to find out what Mabus is. What is the origin of Mabus, right? So when I look up Mabus, its origin stems from Bartholomew. But Bartholomew has a Jesuit connection. Many of you know, following prophecy, Pope Francis is the only Jesuit pope we have ever had. If you look up Jesuit, you'll understand where I'm going with this. The Jesuits were anti-Christ. Okay? Now, when I go up to Mabus origin, and I think it was at Wikipedia, it says it's of German descent, variant of German Mabus, pet form of the personal name Bartholomeus, aka Bartholomew. So I look up Bartholomew, and it stems from the first couple letters, bar equals son. Not S-U-N, S-O-N. Bar, the origin of it is son, S-O-N. It also goes on to say it has an Aramaic content, some kind of Aramaic link to it. And it goes on to say, son of Tolmai. Tolmai, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is spelled T-H-O-L-M-A-I. So here I'm receiving these words, these tidbits as I receive them. And Tolmai, much to my surprise, means hills, mound, or furrows. Okay? If you go to Revelations, when it's describing the Antichrist, he says that the Antichrist beast sits on 7 hills. The Vatican sits on 7 mountains. Okay? You can look up what excelled scholars and theologians come up with. It all points to the Antichrist sits perfectly in dormancy in front of us, under our nose, under the papacy. Okay? These are scholars, these are theologians. I'm nowhere near that league. The reason that's important is it mentions specifically about Talmai being of hills. That aligns with what the prophecy says in the Bible in Revelations. The part that came highlighted, however, when I was looking this up, if you can please pay attention, when I looked this up, it came up as, when I brought up Mabus, when I brought up Antichrist, when I brought up the Pope, when I brought up Bartholomew, the meanings, I found out immediately that Tholmai is listed in the Bible. It's listed in John. Now, let me get to that quickly before I divulge the highlighted part. And it says, okay, it says Thamai is in the scripture. It's in John, and I believe it's 1637. But it says, but Absalom fled, a character in the Bible, a person in the Bible, fled and went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, king of Geshur. Okay? Now, when I put this all together, I didn't have to. It all, one linked the other, and the next word came. Here's the part that really surprised me, because the Lord showed me this in an open vision. I mean, I was awake, I was in prayer. It was the beginning of finding all of this. But obviously he was alerting me to Nostradamus and Nostradamus's Antichrist code. Mabus is the name that Nostradamus gave for the third Antichrist that ushers in the end of days. And the fourth kingdom. Okay, there's a fourth kingdom that you really need to read about in the Bible. This is the part that highlighted for me, in front of me. When I looked up all of these things, a link came up, and it highlighted the words. The massacre of Saint Bartholomew and Jesuit relations and slave revolution. Okay? Let me say that again. Massacre of St. Bartholomew and Jesuit Relations and Slave Revolution. The part that highlighted for me, naturally, what the Lord was showing me, was the M.A. on massacre, the B in Bartholomew, the U in Jesuit, and then the S in slave. Mabus, the Jesuit connection. This Pope is the only Jesuit Pope we've ever had. This is the only Jesuit Pope we will ever have. To support this, I'm going to try to make this under 20 minutes here. To support this, I brought up Wikipedia about St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre to know what the Lord was showing me. The St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre. This gets very interesting, by the way. In 1572 was a targeted group of assassinations and a wave of Catholic mob violence directed against the Huguenots, I believe that's how you say it, French Calvinist Protestants is what that is, during the French Wars of Religion, traditionally believed to have been instigated by Catherine de Medici, the mother of King Charles IX. The mother of King Charles IX. This is where the royalty comes in and how they play into end of times. Their Illuminati ties, the elite ties. The massacre took place 5 days after the wedding of the king's sister, Margaret. The king's sister, Margaret, which the Lord had given me a vision before, saying the city of Margaret. That's all he had given me. I could never figure that out, by the way, but I had an idea that it had to do with the royals. To the Protestant Henry III of Navarre, this marriage was an occasion for which many of the most wealthy and prominent Huguenots, again, pardon me if I'm saying that wrong, had gathered in largely Catholic Paris. Goes on to say the massacre began in the night of the 23rd through the 24th of August, 1572, the eve of the Feast of Bartholomew the Apostle. 2 days after the attempted assassination of Admiral Gaspard de Coligny, the military and political leader of the Huguenots, the king ordered spread throughout Paris. Lasting several weeks, the massacre expanded outward to other urban centers and the countryside. Modern estimates for the number of dead across France vary widely from 5,000 to 30,000. The massacre also marked a turning point in the French Wars of Religion. The Huguenot political movement was crippled by the loss of many of its prominent aristocratic leaders. Who's known as the aristocrats? As well as many reconversions by the rank and file, and those who remained were increasingly radicalized. Though by no means unique, it was the worst of the century's religious massacres. What are we facing right now? We're facing spiritual warfare. If you haven't been paying attention, we're living in a time of spiritual warfare. You will either seek the Lord or you will go along with the bad. The bad are those who are going to infiltrate and make us take the mark of the beast. Are you going to subject yourself to taking the mark of the beast? Or are you going to turn your faith completely to the Lord and in his hands? Are you going to surrender to the Lord? I know I am. I'm not taking a mark for anybody. Last sentence. Throughout Europe, it printed on Protestant minds the indelible conviction that Catholicism was a bloody, treacherous religion. This was the basis. This was their motive for having this massacre. Okay? Now, I don't know enough about this because it just came to me last night. But the way that it came to me, the way that the Lord showed it to me, I was sitting upright in my chair studying. Here's the key component here. When you play this back and you bring up Mabus, being Nostradamus's code name for the Antichrist, the last Antichrist, the third Antichrist, final Antichrist, that ushers in the end of days. And that takes you to the word Bartholomew. And that takes you to, Bar stands for sun, and the rest stands for furloughs or hills. Okay? And you align that with Revelations. When it speaks to us, listen to this part. When Revelation speaks to us in depth about the beast and the scarlet and purple, pardon me for saying this, but it's in the Bible, the Whore of Babylon. They are speaking of the attire that presently the priests wear under the papacy at the Vatican. You can pull up special masses for the Vatican and you will see that the priests are adorned with purple and scarlet colors. Okay? But if you also go into Revelations, you'll see the description of the beast that sits upon 7 mountains. Okay? It all connects. I'm not here to prove a point. I don't need to prove where the Pope lies in prophecy. My main objective for doing this video is for you to understand that every vision that the Lord provides us as watchmen, obviously they're very important. He speaks to us and relays this information for a reason. He communicates with us for a reason. For him to blatantly show me this as I'm sitting in my chair and shows me about Nostradamus and revealing who Mabus is. Who is Mabus? And he leads me down that and shows me one thing after another. But to top it all off, the icing on the cake that led me into all of this was the fact that he showed me Mabus is encoded in the massacre of St. Bartholomew and Jesuit relations and slave revolution. Well, if you're honest with yourselves, you know exactly what they're working on us now. What they're conspiring right now is to enslave us. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to do that at all. Don't misunderstand my words. I'm not here to fearmonger. I'm here specifically to tell you that you need to prepare. Prepare. Equip yourself with the Holy Spirit. Seek answers from Him. Don't go to your priest. Don't go to a church to seek answers. Go directly to the Lord. He will reveal it to you. I am nobody special. And other watchmen know that they are nobody special. What they did was exactly what I did. I offered myself. And I stayed hungry for the Lord. I kept asking questions. I kept searching Him, searching for Him. If you don't think that He doesn't see everything that we do, He does. He sees everything. He sees every tear that you cry. And He will continue to. I don't think I'm going to be making any other videos unless the Lord wants me to. He wanted me to share this. He wanted me to share this information. So I got it all together and I'm just sort of doing it right away. I wish I was better planned for it and I would have come up with the speech, but I don't like doing that. I like to give it to you the way He gave it to me. The way I had to search for it is exactly the way that I'm giving it to you now. If you haven't started preparing, please do. Search for answers. You don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take other watchmen's words for it. But please know that the Bible tells us, the Lord tells us, that it is clear He will divulge to His prophets, to His watchmen, what is coming. Because many of us are asleep. Our nation is asleep. We've been led astray. The truth will come out. You will see our kings of the earth, our leaders of the earth. That will all be exposed. I'm not worried about that. I don't need, I don't desire to be redeemed, even though the Lord has told me to deliver the messages and that He would redeem me. At some point in time, you will all know when these things come about, when they come to fruition, and you all see them on the news, in the sky, when the comet comes. All of that's listed in the Bible. I don't need redemption from past friends, family that's distanced themselves from me. I don't need that because I already know that the Lord's going to redeem me. I've always said that, I guess I've always known. I've never was in this, I live in this world. I'm not of it. Never did fit in. It's not about me. It's about you preparing and seeing these videos firsthand from any watchman. They're sounding the alarm for a reason. And a lot of times, we go under health issues because we stay hungry for the Lord and we hunger for the answers. We seek the answers. We find the answers. He confirms the answers, usually in threes. If we're not sure about a vision and we ask for confirmation, He will. He confirms it. He's amazing. He really is. Bottom line is this information I wanted to share because I need some help. I need some help from other watchmen. Even though I know clearly what the Lord was showing me because it was highlighted. But if you have any other information about Nostradamus, I've never really studied him. I've come across him, but I've never studied him. But the whole code name and Bartholomew obviously talks about the royals. I mean, that can't be coincidence. It cannot be coincidence. I mean, the royals are elite, so they have to know about all this. They have their tunnels. You have to understand, folks, as scary as you might be or scared as you might be, and in the back of your mind, you know that this is true. You know that 1 + 1 = 2. Please seek answers. And I'm still available for some of you who still have my phone, and you can text if you happen to see this, but I got off social media. But I'm still going to do the Lord's work. I've vowed, and I'm not reneging. I don't care if it's just my husband standing next to me when this is all said and done. If day comes and he's not standing next to me, that's okay too. That's okay too, because I'm prepared to lose everybody as long as you get this message. It's not about me. It's about saving you and your families, and for you to prepare immediately. Quit sitting on your hands. Start putting food away. This is coming right around the corner. And I've shared it with people that this stuff is going to come around where these things are going to start unfolding. And you're going to see it for yourself, and then you're going to realize that I wasn't lying to you. I wasn't exaggerating. You're going to see it because you're going to see it on headline news. You're going to see that Obama's not going anywhere. I can't stress enough for you to just please save your food, your water. Put it away. Don't talk about it with people. I'm putting my neck out there because I need you to know it's part of my job. It's part of my assignment that I took on. I know that the Lord will take care of me. So no, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the devil. I'm not afraid for my family because they're in Christ. That's where I need you to be at. I need you to feel confident in the Lord that He's going to take care of you. That no matter what happens, the Lord's going to take care of you. That's what I want you to take away from this. I'm not trying to be a superhero. I'm here to deliver a message. I can only pray to God that you're listening. Don't be stiff-necked. I love you all very much, and please don't hesitate to, this is the only way you're going to be able to communicate with me now. I'm not going to turn my Facebook back on. It was causing me too much stress, and it was causing me health issues. A lot of the times, if you're not seeing somebody talk, the words get lost in translation. They get lost in fear. Because we fear it. The reason you fear it is because you see it happening. The earthquakes coming all around. Most of you already know. That's the sixth seal. The next 2 weeks, they're revamping their ammunition against Israel to divide the land. The Lord already told us, and He makes it clear in the Bible. Please look it up. I don't know the verse by heart, but I do know of it. The Lord tells us, He who has a hand in dividing my land, I will split. The sixth seal talks about a great earthquake, and I've been telling you folks about that. You can look back at the other videos. That earthquake will happen. He also gave me, in a different vision, Texas and Mexico. That vision was almost audible. Since my second video, I have had another audible message from the Lord. I can't begin to be more grateful than I am to have this gift and to be able to share it with you, no matter how much I put us at risk. It's more important for me. Even if I have to stand alone with God on my side only, I will do it. I will do it. If you have any questions, please, or comments, please, co-watchmen, please. If you have any information on this massacre and how it could be, very well, could be affiliated with Nostradamus's Code of Mabus and the link to Pope Francis, please add your comments in the field. God bless you. God keep you in His presence always. No matter what happens, do not let go of His hand. I mean that. Never let go of His hand. Never. Excuse me, my stop button won't stop.